and Lincoln MKZ.
Good news at the pump this morning. Gas prices are still falling. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded is $3.34. That's down a dime from a month ago. Let's take a look at the gas prices in our area. In Mobile, a gallon of regular unleaded is going for $3.17. Drivers in Pensacola paying a whopping $3.49 a gallon for regular unleaded. And it's the cheapest to fill up in Pascagoula. A gallon of regular unleaded is going for $3.09 a gallon. And up to the minute traffic report with Aaron is coming up after this break. Also, a new president has been sworn in Afghanistan, and the U.S.-led coalition is not letting up on ISIS militants. The latest round of airstrikes aimed at targets in 4 provinces in Syria. 6:18 is our time right now. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 10 News on this Monday morning, and we will be right back.
Traffic.
All right, Aaron, thanks. And we'll check back in with Aaron for another traffic report in our next half hour this morning at about 6:50. Right now, it is 6:21. President Obama speaks out about the fight against the Islamic terror group ISIS. The president says the U.S. intelligence community underestimated the growing influence of ISIS and what's necessary to achieve peace in Iraq and Syria. The president says the U.S. laid the groundwork for peace in Iraq, but unless the people learn tolerance, there will always be fighting. Meantime, there's no let-up on ISIS in Syria as the U.S.-led coalition flew more airstrikes today. Today's targets in northern and eastern Syria are in 4 provinces, including Aleppo and Raqqa. The entrance to Syria's largest gas plant, a Conoco facility, was also hit.
Afghanistan's new president. Good Monday morning, everyone.
In the news this morning, you have another chance to chime in on a proposed I-10 bridge over the Mobile River. A public forum is being held tonight in Baldwin County. It will be at the Five Rivers Delta Resource Center. That's on the Causeway in Spanish Fort. Alabama Department of Transportation officials will have a presentation beginning at 4 o'clock. That will include a video animation of the proposed bridge from above as well as inside a vehicle. AlDOT engineers will also be on hand to answer questions. The public forum begins at 5:30. You will have to sign up to speak.
A traffic alert for drivers in West Mobile, 1 lane in each direction of air, and enclosure around their dumpsters.
Mobile City leaders want more time to consider a controversial topic, oil storage tanks. The City Council and the Planning Commission are considering amendments to the zoning ordinance for oil storage tanks. The Council is expected to vote to extend that deadline until the end of March. There are 2 locations being considered for oil storage tank facilities. One is behind the GM&O terminal in downtown Mobile. The other is in the Africatown district off of Paper Mill Road. Many residents in Africatown say they don't want the oil storage tanks in their neighborhoods.
This is a historical area. It needs to be protected. I'm not saying that the Gulf Coast can't have all the industry on the Gulf Coast, but just not here. We don't want to hear it. Put it somewhere else.
We will let you know what happens.
If you're just joining us this morning, here are some of those stories also making headlines this morning. Around 40 people were injured.
An American doctor who was exposed to the Ebola virus has been admitted to the National Institution of Health near the nation's capital. NIH says the physician was exposed to the virus while volunteering in Sierra Leone. He was flown to a regional airport in Frederick, Maryland yesterday, and he walked off the plane wearing a white protective suit. You can see him right there. The doctor was then taken to NIH in Bethesda, where he is in special isolation for observation. The doctor's name has not been released. There's a new place for kids to play in Mobile thanks to hundreds of volunteers. 200 volunteers came together and built a new playground at the Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club in the Crichton area. The 48,000 square foot space also features walking paths and fitness stations for adults. And get this whole thing built in 6 hours. The project was put together by the Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club, Humana, and Kaboom.
And Chastity gave me a tip saying that things will be all set to go on Tuesday when the weather's even better than today.
That's good. Next weekend looks wonderful.
All right, Chastity, thank you very much. It is now 6:53. An Oklahoma man is accused of going on a deadly rampage at his workplace. Authorities expect to formally file charges against the suspect. And we are learning more about a bus crash that killed 4 members of a community college softball team. Investigators say the other driver didn't even appear to try and stop the crash from happening. It's 6:54 right now on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us right here on Fox 10 News, and we'll be right back.
Until December.
Coming up in your only local news at 7 a.m., students at one high school will gather for a prayer at the pole this morning. They are remembering 2 students killed in an accident. Also, it's been nearly 2 weeks and still no arrest in the murder of Hawaii Robinson. Thousands of people came out over the weekend to say their final goodbyes to the 8-year-old. It's 6:58. We'll be right back.
Coming up.
All right, Chastity, thank you very much. It is now 7:03. You have another chance to speak out about the proposed new I-10 bridge project. Another public forum is happening in Baldwin County. It's being held at the Five Rivers Delta Resource Center that's on the Causeway in Spanish Fort. Alabama Department of Transportation officials will have a presentation beginning at 4 o'clock. It will include a video animation of the proposed bridge from above as well as inside a car. AlDOT engineers will also be on hand to answer questions. The public forum begins at 5:30 and you will have to sign up to speak. If your morning commute takes you through West Mobile, we have a traffic alert for you. Starting today, 2 lanes of Airport Boulevard will be closed. Officials say crews will be working on the drainage system. It's happening just east of Schillinger Road at the intersection with Alverson Road. The inside lanes in each direction will be blocked off from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday for the next 3 weeks. Drivers can expect delays, so if you plan to travel in that direction, you might want to take an alternate route.
Students at Central.
We are just getting started here on Fox 10 News. Coming up at about 7:16. Today is National Coffee Day, and some businesses are celebrating with a free cup of joe. Then in our next half hour at 7:30, authorities responded to a standoff in the Crichton community where a man was threatening to harm himself. And at 7:43, a local dance group who has made both headlines locally and nationally is now the subject of a new reality show. These stories plus more of your local headlines are all coming up. And the wet weather proves to be too much for some areas in Florida as the rain-soaked ground gives way. Damage is reported in some areas after several trees come crashing down. Plus, meteorologist Chastity Bird standing by with a look at how the weather is shaping up for today. We'll have check-in with her coming up after this break. 7:07 is our time right now on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us right here on Fox 10 News, and we'll be right back.